I am beauty.
I am beauty.
I am brains.
I am brain.
Ashley Lockhart loved her daughters more than anything in the world. She had 6 little girls, and she called them her 6 charms. In every photo, she smiled with them, hugged them close, dressed them with care, and filled their hearts with gentle words. Ashley believed in teaching them they were special, that they were beautiful, that they were smart. She didn't just say these words, she lived them every day. She was a young mother in West Philadelphia, only 32 years old, but her spirit was big. Her love could be seen in the way she carried her children to school, in the way she braided their hair, in the way she cheered for them when no one else did. She was light in a city that often felt dark. And even though the world around her was heavy with crime, poverty, and fear, Ashley kept shining. But early one morning, something terrible happened. A van sat on the side of a quiet road. The sky was still grey. A person walking by heard screams, ugly, sharp sounds that didn't match the stillness of the street. They called the police. When officers arrived and opened the door to that van, everything changed. Inside was Ashley. She was no longer breathing. Her body was still, covered in blood. A knife was stuck in her head. The seats were soaked red. There were signs that someone had hurt her again and again. It was not an accident. It was not a mistake. It was hate. Ashley Lockhart, the woman who had danced with her girls, whispered affirmations into their ears, and tried to hold her family. Together was gone, and the person who took her life was someone she once trusted. Ashley grew up in Philadelphia, in a city where joy and struggle lived side by side. The sidewalks knew her footsteps. The neighborhood corners knew her laughter. Life wasn't always easy, but Ashley learned to hold on to the good things. She became the kind of woman who didn't wait for happiness. She built it. When she became a mother, something inside her grew even brighter. She didn't just raise children, she raised little lights, 6 of them, all girls, all full of promise. She called them her 6 charms, and to her they were magic. They were her reason to keep going, even when the world tried to knock her down. Ashley worked hard to make their lives beautiful. She dressed them with love. She walked with them to school. She braided their hair slowly, carefully, whispering gentle truths into their ears. You are smart, you are powerful, you are beauty, you are brains, you are health, you are wealth. These weren't just words to Ashley, they were promises. And her girls believed them because Ashley said them like they were facts. At home, she turned simple moments into memories. She made songs out of bedtime routines. She turned breakfast into a celebration. She used her phone to capture tiny victories, a daughter tying her own shoes, another one reading a sentence for the first time. The world might not have noticed those things, but Ashley did. She saw value in things most people missed. She taught her daughters how to love themselves out loud, to believe they were enough, and in return they bloomed under her care. Each girl, though small, stood tall in the light of her mother's love. Strangers would smile, just watching them walk by. Ashley didn't have much, but what she gave was richer than gold. A voice of power, a home full of warmth, a spirit that poured into her children like water. And now that voice is silent, but the words she planted in her daughters, they are still growing. To those looking from the outside, Ashley and Raymond looked like love, a smiling mother, a quiet father, 6 beautiful daughters between them. Family photos showed birthdays with balloons, girls in matching dresses, and soft captions that read like fairy tales. To strangers scrolling past, it all seemed full of peace. But pictures can lie. Raymond Thompson was the father of Ashley's children. He had been in her life for years. He shared her home, sat at her table, and held her hand in public. But when no one else was watching, something darker lived in the silence between them. What looked like love was often fear wearing a mask. Raymond didn't show up often on Ashley's social media, and when he did, it was brief, just a mention. a shadow. In the background, he posted about peace. He told the world to stop the violence in the city. He praised Ashley in birthday messages, calling her beautiful and strong. But in private, Raymond was a storm. He had a long past with the police. Troubles seemed to follow him, drug charges, fights, even time in jail. His anger came fast. His moods changed like weather. And inside the house, Ashley often felt like she was walking on a thin sheet of ice, hoping it wouldn't crack. Little signs were there if you knew how to look. Ashley's posts sometimes hinted at pain. Not loud, not clear, but quiet cries for help that almost whispered. She talked about protecting children from harm. She made short notes about betrayal. She shared thoughts that felt like warnings, hidden in hope. A counselor who works with women like Ashley once said that abuse doesn't always start with fists. It starts with silence, with controlling where you go, who you see, what you wear. It starts with being told who you are and forgetting who you used to be. Abusers often smile in public. They kiss in photos. They look just like everyone else. Ashley tried to hold on, maybe for her children, maybe for the version of love she once believed in. But over time, the red flags were no longer soft. They were loud, and soon she would try to take a step away from the darkness. But sometimes, when you leave, the danger doesn't go away, it comes closer. In the final months of her life, Ashley Lockhart tried to protect herself. She had taken out something called a PFA, a protection from abuse order. It was a paper from the court, meant to keep her safe from Raymond. It said he could not come near her. It said he could not hurt her again, but paper can be torn and rules can be broken. And love, when poisoned by fear, can become a trap. Even after the PFA, Ashley and Raymond stayed in the same home. Maybe it was for the children. Maybe she thought he would change. Or maybe she was just tired. Tired of fighting, tired of hiding. But something inside her had shifted. She was not the same Ashley who had once kept quiet. This time she had drawn a line. Raymond saw the change, and in his mind, it meant the end. It meant she might leave him. It meant she no longer feared him enough to stay. And something deep inside him twisted. On the morning of August 6, 2022, everything came to a final, violent end. The sun had barely risen over West Philadelphia. A golden Honda Odyssey sat parked on the side of Chestnut Street. Inside the van were two people, Ashley in the passenger seat, Raymond behind the wheel. They had driven out early, maybe for groceries, but they never reached the store. People nearby would later say they heard shouting. The sounds got louder. Then there was screaming. Something about it didn't feel normal. It felt like terror. A stranger walking past heard it too and called 911. When police arrived, they found the van still there, still quiet, still waiting. Inside was a scene no one could prepare for. Ashley was in the front seat, slumped over. Blood had soaked through her clothes and covered the floor. Her hands, her legs, her face, all marked by knife wounds. The knife was still in her head. She had been stabbed 27 times. Her body showed signs of a struggle. Her fingers were sliced from trying to protect herself. Her neck was open. Her life had been taken with hate. Raymond was gone. Officers froze. Even the ones who had seen violence before stepped back. One of them later said it was the worst thing they had ever walked into. The inside of the van looked like a place where someone had been hunted, not just hurt. The anger behind the crime felt thick in the air. News spread fast. A woman, a mother of 6, was murdered. People whispered that it was domestic violence, that she had tried to leave, that she had tried to protect herself. But it hadn't worked. Cameras in the area gave police their first clue. Footage showed Raymond stepping out of the van, walking into a store nearby, calm and quiet. Then he came back. In his hand was something long and dark, something shaped like a knife. He opened the door, and then, chaos. His arms moved fast and hard. The door never closed. The camera caught it all. The stabbing, the rage, the final moments. He ran. An hour passed. Then the call came in. Raymond Thompson had turned himself in. He said he had killed her. He said he was angry. He said he thought she was cheating. And after he ran, he rode the subway to Kensington, used heroin to numb himself, then called the police. His voice was flat. His face showed no fight. It was over. But for Ashley's daughters, for her family, and for the city, what had ended, for him, had just begun for them. The nightmare was only starting. When Raymond Thompson walked into the police station, he looked hollow. He didn't try to run. He didn't ask for help. He simply told them what he had done. He said it was because he believed Ashley had been unfaithful, that she was going to leave him, that he couldn't take it. But no reason could explain the violence he unleashed. No excuse could bring back what he had destroyed. The police arrested him that same morning. He was charged with murder and possession of instruments of crime. They didn't need to search for clues. The camera footage, the blood, the knife, everything spoke for itself. He had confessed. He had surrendered. But nothing about it felt like justice yet. Ashley's family buried her with trembling hands. Her daughters were too young to understand why their mother wasn't coming back, too small to grasp what 27 stab wounds really meant. But they felt the emptiness. They asked for her, they cried for her. They waited for someone to say this was a mistake. The city mourned. At the corner where Ashley took her last breath, people lit candles and laid flowers. Teddy bears were placed along the sidewalk. Green and white balloons, her favorite colors, were released into the sky. They floated upward, soft and silent, like a goodbye that no one was ready to say. The courtroom stayed quiet when Raymond stood before the judge. It took nearly 2 years for the case to reach sentencing. But finally, on June 27, 2024, the judge gave her ruling. Raymond Thompson was sentenced to 22 to 45 years in prison. It was a long sentence, but for those who loved Ashley, it didn't feel like enough, because no number could balance what had been lost. Outside the courthouse, people held signs that read her name. They said her life mattered. They said enough was enough. The story of Ashley Lockhart became a cry for every woman who had tried to leave and didn't make it, for every mother who hid her bruises, for every child who now lives without a parent. Her death became a reminder that fear lives behind closed doors, that violence can wear the mask of love, that even a smile can hide a scream. Ashley's 6 daughters lost their mother in a way they could not understand. One day, she was there, hugging them, brushing their hair, singing little songs. The next day, she was gone. Just gone. They were too young to know what had happened, but they could feel something was missing. Her voice, her hands, her warmth, and now their father was gone too. He was in jail, and he would not be coming home. The girls were left with a deep sadness that no child should ever have to carry. Ashley's family tried their best to hold the children close. They promised to keep the girls together, to raise them with love just the way their mother would have wanted. But raising 6 children takes help. It takes money. It takes a village. So Ashley's family created a GoFundMe page. It was a way for kind people to give what they could. A little money for food, clothes, school and care. People from all over gave. Some gave small amounts, some gave more. But every gift was full of love. The community came together. Neighbors brought toys. Friends brought meals. Strangers left notes that said things like, "You are loved," and "Stay strong." It didn't fix what was broken, but it helped. The girls feel less alone. Sometimes, even small kindness can be a light in a dark time. If you've ever given someone hope, shared a kind word, or helped a child feel safe, your love matters. Every day, many people around the world face harm from someone they know. Sometimes it's a partner, a family member, or someone they trust. This kind of harm is called domestic violence. It can be physical, like hitting or pushing. It can also be emotional, like saying mean things or making someone feel scared all the time. In the United States, about 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men have experienced this kind of hurt from someone close to them. That's a lot of people. And it's not just adults. Children can be affected too. They might see the violence, hear it, or even be hurt themselves. But there is hope. There are places and people ready to help. Shelters offer safe spaces for those who need to leave dangerous situations. Hotlines provide someone to talk to day or night. Organizations like domesticshelters.org can help people find support nearby. If you or someone you know is in danger, it's important to reach out. In the U.S., you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE 7233. They can help you find safety and support. Remember, everyone deserves to feel safe and loved. No one should live in fear. Ashley Lockhart may be gone, but the love she gave still lives on. She taught her daughters to believe in themselves. She reminded them every day that they were more than enough. Her voice, soft and strong, would say things like, "I am beauty, I am brains, I am smart, I am treasure." These were not just words, they were seeds, planted deep in her children's hearts to help them grow with courage and pride. Ashley's life was full of love, even though it ended in pain. She gave her daughters the kind of love that does not disappear, even when the world tries to take it away. Her light shines through them, in their laughter, their kindness, their strength. This story is not just about what happened to Ashley. It is about why it happened and how many others are still at risk. Domestic violence can hide behind smiles. It can live in silence. That is why we must always listen, always speak up, and always protect those who feel trapped or afraid. If you feel moved by Ashley's story, share it. Tell others. Remind someone today that they are worthy of safety, love, and peace. Use your voice to help someone else find theirs. Ashley Lockhart was a mother, a light, and a fighter. Let her name be a reminder. Let her legacy be a call to action. And may her daughters always remember, I am beauty, I am brains, I am love, I am enough.